Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we are talking about the one place that I think you are most likely to forget to look when you're running on empty and need a refresh. So, I want to just invite a moment of self exploration or self evaluation. When you feel depleted, restless, unsettled, down, disappointment, or agitated, where do you tend to go with your attention? Like, what do you do either with intention or just like habitually? What do you do to help yourself with that dis-ease inside? And my guess, if I could put money on it, is that you often probably reach outward towards something outside of yourself. And that outward reach might be a lot of different things. It could look like going to the scrolling. It could look like an audiobook the second your car door shuts and you're on the move. Or it could look like just pushing that next episode on Netflix a little longer than you had planned. It could look like picking up the phone and calling a friend or a loved one. It could look like going to AI and getting a coaching session and getting some advice about whatever it is you're going through. It could also look like just shoving down the experience you're having that doesn't feel good and getting busy and distracting yourself with outside of you activities and just waiting until maybe 3 or 4 days from now when you have a lunch date with a friend that you can actually get a little bit of external support for whatever it is that you're dealing with. I don't know about you, but I cannot tell you how many times I've literally caught myself like mid-air. And my hand is like reaching for the phone and picking it up, and I'm looking at the screen, and I don't even know exactly why I was picking up my phone to begin with. It was like this automatic habit to either fill the space or I noticed something that needed attending to. So I'm going outside of myself to handle it or deal with it, or I felt agitated or bored or lonely or fatigued. And there's this like part of me that's not even conscious that's looking for something to lift me up and fill my cup. And I actually think as humans, being able to go outside of ourselves and look for things in our environment that can bring joy, that can bring soothing, that can bring inspiration or companionship to this human experience is part of being human. There's nothing inherently wrong about going outward for stimulus or soothing or wisdom or clarity or encouragement. So none of that outward seeking, I would say, is inherently wrong in and of itself. I do, however, think that one essential midlife woman experience is missing from that continual outward reach. I think there are probably actually at least three come to mind right now: hidden costs of relying or not countering that outward reach. The first hidden cost is that it's not actually highly practical as a mom in midlife to be always waiting until we're with somebody else to work through our dissatisfaction or our discomfort or our insecurity or our disappointments or our agitations or whatever human experiences we're having that don't feel good. It's not actually always practical to rely on somebody else solely as the way that we work through those difficult moments. And that's because for most women in modern motherhood, there are longer gaps than you would like in between friend engagements, friend conversations, where there's actually enough time and space to drop deeper below the surface, not just to talk, genuinely, but a little bit superficially about what we're going through. We really need more time to get into the deeper depths with people. And so things like voice texting each other and staying in touch as best as possible are wonderful ways to kind of bridge the gap with our friends. But really, if we could just live with all of our friends on a commune somewhere, we'd probably have all of our relational needs met and then some. But since that's not modern life for any woman that I know, we really have gaps of being alone in our own heads, kind of ruminating over or either getting overwhelmed by or trying to push away and avoid whatever difficult experience we're having when we don't know what else to do with those difficult experiences. And we're just waiting for somebody else to come into the room who can help us with them. The other reason why I think that outward reach is a little bit, if not highly problematic, is if that we're always going to the audiobook, to the podcast, to the phone call with a friend, to like filling all of the downtime with conversations with other people or with ideas or inspiration or stimuli outside of ourselves. We can unintentionally fill our time with external, either distracting or soothing activities, and then not leave time for other things that might be really valuable to us. Like, for example, we have a 20-minute break in between meetings, and without even knowing it, we reach for our phone and we're like scheduling camps or we're scrolling or we're researching something. We're just filling that time when maybe there's something other that we could be doing with that time that would be not reaching outward in that same way, but would be filling our hearts and minds a little bit differently. So I think we lose time a lot as modern moms when we're doing that constant outward reach. And then there's so very little time for all the other important things that we'd like to be doing. But this is to me the third hidden cost, which is the most important to me for this week's episode, is that we lose out on the benefits of developing a deep and rich friendship with ourselves. So let me be clear about something. Self-friendship is not the same thing as self-care. So self-friendship is not like bubble baths or like a long solo weekend or getting a pedicure or getting a massage. Like those are all lovely things. That's just not what self-friendship is. Self-friendship is the ongoing and daily practice of showing up for yourself in the same ways that you likely show up for the people that you love the most. Self-friendship includes being able to and actually looking forward to over time and really prioritizing just taking time out of the flow of your life and not filling it with more cleaning, more projects, more to-dos, more listening, more learning, whatever it is that you fill your time with in between all the working and caregiving that comprises most of your time. It's learning how to feel more comfortable in silence and without distraction or being entertained or occupied in some way, and really starting to learn how to enjoy your own company. In addition to being willing to, and then with consistency, taking little bits of time out of the day to just be with yourself, like you would take time to be with a loved one. Like you don't really care what you're going to do. You're just going to like show up and be with that best friend or be with someone that you care about. It doesn't have to be about the activity, just more about being together is the point of it. I want you to cultivate that same friendliness with yourself, just looking forward to practicing a short period of time where you're not occupied and your mind is free to bring your attention within. So we take the time, but then we also engage in a deep listening practice. Just like if you were going on a walk with a friend, if it felt like a really rich mutual relationship, they would walk for part of the time and they would share and talk, and you would really listen with kind of undivided, open attention to whatever it is that they're going through. And then if it was mutual, there would be a time where it switches and then they say, well, tell me about you and say all the things and I want to hear what's going on. And they would give you that same generous listening. So in addition to taking time for self-friendship, the second like quality of the self-friendship is like a deep listening. being willing to ask yourself questions like, what am I really feeling right now? How have things been going for me the last several hours? What do I need right now? And focusing your questions on what's happening for you on the inside and what you're able to do for yourself within whatever the information is that you're getting. And then a third thing you would do with that friend is that in addition to listening, my hope is that you would have this kind of positive regard stance for that friend. You wouldn't be leading with criticism or judgment, and you would be restraining from trying to fix it for them right away, but instead just trying to have this really like loving, compassionate spaciousness where you're encouraging them through this feeling of positive regard and generous love that you have for that person. And if there's anything practical, like if they ask for advice, you might give your 2 cents. But really, the most rewarding part of that exchange is not the solution that you might give or that they may arrive at the end, but more the experience of being prioritized, being deeply seen and listened to, and having this like mirror of acceptance and positive regard and compassionate, validating belief in that person. Like that's what makes us feel like that friendship was deeply rewarding in that conversation. And so that third aspect, that positive regard, that loving tone, that like not leading with judgment or solution, but really trying to show a understanding and a kindness, we need to practice that level of self-friendship within ourselves. Practice being less reactive around our fears, around our insecurities, around our painful or difficult emotions. Practice increasing our capacity to be with difficult emotions and know how to redirect our thoughts so that we can move in a wise and kind and loving way from within. I haven't met a single woman that doesn't judge herself pretty strongly or actually harshly around the things that she's struggling with or insecure about. We need to learn this self-friendship that has deep compassion rooted into it, where we're allowed to struggle, where it doesn't have to mean anything bad about us, where we practice not invalidating or making rainbow and sunshine out of things that are really hard, but we practice just reminding ourselves of our lovability and the workability of our ability to be with ourselves in new and growing ways. And then we find creative actions that represent staying connected with ourselves as we're taking action in the direction of what we hope will help us with whatever we're struggling with. So, this internal resource of self friendliness isn't replacing the need that we have for other people in our lives. It's just the bridge between the moments when you're able to access other people around you. And I think most importantly, I think this could be like a midlife manifesto for all women. There is a you that is ready to grow and emerge. There is a part of me on the inside that can benefit from my 45 years of wisdom and experiences and specific way of looking at things and seeing things and doing things. Same for you, my friend, each and every one of you that is listening. There is a you now that you have become a mother, now that you have had the work experiences that you've had, now that you've had the life and relationship experiences that you've had. There is a you. It's not maybe all of you. You can be multifaceted, but there is a you that is ready for kind of the epic version of yourself to come through. And not epic like polished or perfect, but your most deeply seated, loving, and most powerful part of you. I want you to learn how to turn inward toward that part of you, to let that part of you befriend you. Let that part of you grow and get braver to experience and offer and show up and be seen in brand new creative ways. I deeply believe that every woman has something vital to offer her sphere of influence, but also just outside of it. And in order to grow beyond our comfort zone, we need to tap into this like vital, vibrant woman that is ready to emerge on the inside. And I think we won't meet that woman until we are really practicing that art of self-friendliness. I think the like biggest bang for your buck to start to invest in self-friendship is to adopt what I practice and I'm offering to you, which is like what I call the 24-hour rule. So the 24-hour rule is not like a rigid morning routine. It's not like a cumbersome hour of deep dive journaling or anything like that. It's just committing to not going 24 hours without pulling over to the side of the road in your own life in some way, shape, or form. And we pull over to the side of the road to just stop, listen, work through and attend to our emotional inner world as skillfully as you can with the tools that you have right now and the time you have to do that little pullover. And then tap into that spirit of self-friendliness and also that kind of vibrant, emerging epic woman that you are born to live into and that is ready to emerge, ready to come to the forefront. Whether it be in your parenting or in your friendships or in your creative endeavors or in the meaningful work that you want to do in the world or in your relationship or in just creating a life that feels like this is the one, this is it, and it's what I want to be experiencing. It's so easy for the monotony of life and the responsibilities of life to kind of cloud our vision and our connection from that more epic, vibrant experience of being alive. And so Vibrant Mom Podcast, all the Vibrant Mom mentoring programs are there to lift you up and kind of take that kind of cloudy vision away and to help you step in to who you are at your heart and what you most long to experience in this life. So we don't let 24 hours go by before we check in with ourselves in a meaningful way, use the tools and skills we have to get in touch with what we're going through and practice the art of self-friendliness and engaging that kind of epic part of ourselves that is brave and loving and true. And then we choose soothing actions and committed actions that turn us in the direction that we hope will help us the most with whatever we're going through. So you might have 20 minutes in a given day. You might have 5 minutes in a given day. What you do and how long you have to do it might change, but the commitment to not ignoring the friendship with yourself for more than 24 hours, that commitment is what we can hold fast to. So this is an invitation to kind of grow your self-friendship toolkit, to find short format practices, to find prompts, to find rituals or routines that you can bring in that remind you, take the time to invest in this relationship on the inside. Don't let emotional backlog pile up. Don't let a long period of time go by where you become distant with the intimacy of being with yourself. And the cool thing is the more you practice these little pullouts for self-friendship, the more comfortable you are in your own company, the more familiar you get with the kind of difficult thoughts and feelings that tend to hook you, and the more skillful you get to kind of ride those inner waves and get to the good stuff, that like deep self-love and respect and belief in yourself that is there for you, just like it's there for me and every other woman listening. In my world, ideally, I would try to do a couple of these little eddy outs actually throughout the day, maybe shorter format, but just really checking in and feeling my body and like dropping out of my head. Like if I was a snow globe that got shooken up and all the like thoughts and to-dos are, like snowflakes just bubbling around. And if I just give it a little bit of time, like, does it take 2 minutes for a snow globe to settle? Just finding ways like putting on a song and singing out loud, or kind of jumping around and dancing around my office, or laying on the floor and doing some deep breathing, or just stepping outside and taking in the beauty around me. There's so many ways, there's so many practices. None of them are right. None of them are all right for you. You just have to find your ways in your times of day to take that pull out to practice self friendship. So on an ideal day for me, I would do that. I would try to do that once or twice during the day. And then maybe right before I fall asleep in the quietness of my own mind, I would do it again. But of course, there's many days where I just blow by that advice. And then I realize, oh my gosh, like I did this yesterday at the very morning, but I didn't do it again at all. And now I've blown past my 24-hour rule. It's lunchtime the next day. And I just try to remind myself, like, no problem. Just when's the next right time that I can do that self friendship? And if it's a really hard day that was demanding and I didn't have a moment to catch my breath, again, to me, that tried and true time is either first thing in the morning, just while I'm having a quiet cup of coffee, or last thing at night before bed, just as I'm winding down and just imagining like holding myself and snuggling in to connect on the inside. But those are good times for me. They might be terrible times for you. So this is your homework, girl. Find the times of day when practice of self friendship, if you were to prioritize it and maybe even calendar it in, could happen for you. And then think of, what would I want to do? What are some of the tools that I could use that could help bring my attention into what I'm doing, so that I can do it with intention versus just get distracted by the phone and the inbox and the messy house and, all of the things that we could get distracted by on a continual basis. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about this idea of self-friendship? What are key relationship qualities that you rely on in your friends? Like, how do they treat you if they're a really good friend? Maybe make a list of like 6 qualities that matter so much to you in your friendships if they're really high quality ones. No, like I mean it. Push pause and then do that. Write 6 qualities out. And then now you have your self-friendship mandate. Those same qualities that you really cherish in other people are the qualities with which you within you is ready for you to start to exercise with some consistency and loyalty. I always love hearing from you. Let me know your friendship qualities and what it's going to look like for you to start practicing them. And as if you've made it to the very end of this episode, thank you so much for listening. And I can't wait to see you next week.